because of that, we have been able to increase our backlog significantly. We're willing to work with others and vice versa because they see us be willing to work with them and give them work. They come back and pay back by fact they give us work as well.
Is this becoming more popular in the industry, or is it just CTL, which is partnering?
No, it is. It's not just CTL. It is more popular, but there are certain companies who don't want to. That's their choice.
Does it make sense to assume that this will open the door for more mergers, maybe acquisitions in the near future?
It is, and about 10 years back, private equity seems to have gone into the engineering industry. So especially since a lot of people are close to retirement, and the private equity industry were paying a lot of their EBITDA prices were much higher than what we were able to get. And that kind of enticed many of them, but a few of them have soured as a result of that, and they're coming out of it as well.
Do you actually promote, or do you recommend more mergers to happen in this industry? Do you think bigger companies merging together, or actually smaller companies joining hands is better for the industry?
I think so. As you increase, and I've seen it in our own company, as we grow, we become much more bureaucracy sets in, and which makes us much less nimble. We reduce our that causes us to become a little bit more I wouldn't say non-responsive, less
agile. I understand what you're trying to say here. Yes, you become less agile and you become more bureaucratic and more over-processed, where everything requires cycles and hoops to get done.
Exactly. So and that's one of the things. That's why I said I would prefer a little bit more nimble companies which can move around and be agile, as you said. Correct.
Perfect. And that brings the question to my head. What's the most challenging function or business challenge that you have right now with your business, with your company?
Obvious answer is finding people, finding good employees to hire, and be able to increase our business.
Do you have a project pipeline? Do you have a project pipeline problem, which is not enough sales?
Not at all.
Not at all.
No. Actually, our backlog is the highest in the history of the company.
Wow. And is it the delivery problem? You're having longer delivery timelines due to the scarcity of people?
Yep.
How efficient are your operations?
Well, we think there's going to be an opportunity to improve. We have improved. We pay a lot of attention to measures, and provide data to our project managers, so they know exactly what they need to do and what they can do, and they have the data available for them to react and or proactively plan. But can we improve? Absolutely, we can improve. The biggest things we can improve upon is train our people to be much more businesslike, and be cross-market and sell. Those are the two areas we can improve. And by the way, we have been hiring recent graduates on a regular basis so that we can train them. They don't have the bad habits already formed, so we don't have to untrain them and then retrain them afterwards. So that's what we're doing.
So do you believe in organically growing leadership from within the company, or?
For most of the part, yes.
And have you been successful at it so far? Like,
yes,
finding talent
by the
from
same
within your
token,
team and growing?
We're selectively hiring people.
How big is CTL now?
It's about 300 employees in the US.
Wow. And you said you also provide technology services from overseas?
Yes.
Is that specific to your industry or just a practice that you had?
It's only for us. We don't really sell it, but we do have, some people have used it, but we don't necessarily, we have not really gone out and tried to sell the business.
What's your vision for CTL for the next 5 years? That's the last question I'm going to ask you about CTL, I promise.
No problem. The vision is we are looking at some mergers, like you said, and also we want to grow in the southern part of the US. We're looking at some acquisitions there.
Why the South?
There's a lot more opportunities. One of the things is because we are in the northeast, Midwest, I should say. The weather has an important part to play, which are during the non-construction season, we have to either have layoffs or our margins are eaten into. So if we can have opportunities in the South, maybe we can have people transfer and do work throughout the year.
Makes sense. We'll move on to talk a little bit more about Ohio chapter, ACEC Ohio chapter. As chairman of the Ohio chapter, would you explain to us what's your mission and the objectives that you were pursuing for the organization?
One thing is, my term ended as of July.
What was your objectives and what do you think?
In when I was the chair, my two objectives were, one was to educate our own members as well as public agencies across the state of Ohio on QBS, importance of QBS. Because there is a law in Ohio, and we wanted to educate people the existence of the law and to apply the law.
And what is QBS?
Qualification-based selection.
Oh, the qualification. Yes, that you spoke about earlier. Yes.
So that was one. The second objective of mine was to encourage our own members to prefer their sub-consultants and our partners to be other ACEC members.
Mm-hmm. And did you succeed in recruiting more?
It seems to has improved. I'm not going to say
what keeps organizations? I wonder. To me, it's no brainer. What keeps organization from joining such their body like ACEC? Why would they not want to? There
is a little bit of cost associated with it, and they may not see the benefits of that. But more importantly, I wanted members to use other members as sub-consultants as opposed to non-members. That was my goal.
Again, I think the benefits largely overweigh the whatever cost
I
is
agree.
attributed
I
to it.
totally agree. And networking is a big thing, right?
It is. It's all about networking at the end of the day. It's it really amazes me that some people would not even consider the advantages of having such a membership in place versus not. I know that CTL strongly emphasizes on embracing technology, particularly the BIM, and I know that you are passionate about it. Would you talk to us, how did BIM influence how structures are designed and built at CTL Engineering?
BIM by itself, unfortunately, BIM is not used for below ground structures, below ground, which is that's another issue. But by this fact, BIM makes it easier to, not easier, it helps in minimizing errors in the plans and specifications. While you can look at it, you can make it so visible that if there is conflicts, you can see it and you can correct it before it becomes an issue.
And who does usually review this and points out or calls out these conflicts?
Usually it is the CAD and the designers.
They're the ones who usually review the final.
No. The final one is usually the project manager.
The project manager. So project managers that work for you are not strictly, project managers in its abstract sense. They also have engineering experience that they could look into.
Yeah. In fact, we don't have non-engineers as project managers.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. So they're all, they have engineering background or, and then they move on to
architectural background.
Wow. And then they move on to become project managers on top.
Yeah. We give them the authority and the ability.
Doesn't that add also more challenge on you on finding these people? Because I'm assuming it's also very, very hard to.
Yeah, there are two paths of progression at CTL. One is the management track, and the one is the technical track. There are people who don't want to be managers. We understand that.
Of course, not everyone wants to.
Yeah.
Another question that I had is that the construction industry has faced significant challenges recently. We obviously spoke about some of them, but one of the challenges also that's on the table is the material cost increase. In addition to the labor shortages and obviously the need for digital transformation, what's the impact of these factors or challenges on the industry in general?
And thankfully, it was temporary, in my opinion.
Yep.
It has stabilized. It has stabilized. For example, the wood prices just went crazy in 2021. It has normalized now back down for the wood, as an example. And similarly in steel, etc.
Steel prices also normalized?
Yeah, a little bit, yes.
A little bit.
It has.
Okay.
Not significantly, but at least it doesn't continue to rise.
Did that have an impact on your designs? Did you have to go and change the way that you design and lay out these designs?
In some cases, absolutely, it did have an impact.
And did that make you look into different materials?
Alternatives, yes. Yeah, we did. But thankfully, it was not that significant.
It wasn't.
Because many of them don't have much of a choice.
And then the last question I had for you is the adoption of digital technologies in the construction industry. It's becoming increasingly crucial, especially when the pandemic hit and people had to work remote. However, we still see a lot of smaller organizations face challenges in embracing these advancements. From your perspective, what steps can businesses take to transition to digital construction process successfully rather than continue to do how they're doing right now?
In certain industries, it's almost no choice. For example, the transportation industry, all the DOTs are requiring it. There's not, we don't have a choice. If you want to be in the construction, in the engineering business, in the transportation sector, you have to use
You have
it.
to. It's not even an option. Yeah,
it's not an option. I certainly have some issues with it, but anyway, that's a different matter altogether. But apart from that, but there are certain industries, they still are not. There's not a push for it. Although very few people don't use some amount of technology. I have not seen those old tables and drawings and all that is gone.
Yeah,
Nobody
totally
does
gone.
that. No,
we're
nobody
beyond
does
this
that.
now. Absolutely.
Yeah, they are using CAD, but not necessarily BIM or Revit or whatever you want to call it. That acceptance of it is slow by the fact many of the people, change is difficult.
Yeah, of course. They resist change. They push back.
And as you get older, you tend to be less willing to accept the change.
I agree.
In fact, what irritates me the most in my company is somebody comes and says, that change, these 4 words, nobody will tell me in front of me. They say, that's the way we do it. I said, I don't want to hear it. I'll never want anybody to tell me that's the way we do it.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not carved in stone, so just don't tell me that's the way we do it.
Exactly.
It's not meant to last forever and ever after, so I need challengers here, not just people who follow old methodologies that has been outdated. Yep, I agree with you. It's a pleasure talking to you. I've learned a lot from talking to you. It's very, very, very interesting. Reflecting on your past and your experience is just a wealth to me and to us as a company. Thank you for taking the time to actually talk to us today, Mr. CK. And any last words for the AEC community?
No, in fact, it was a pleasure talking to you. You were very, very kind. And thank you, and nice meeting you, really.
Pleasure is mine. Hopefully we'll connect again in the near future. Stay in good health.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have a great day ahead. Thank you.